So this is one of the roses that I received for Mother's Day, and I dried it out in silica gel crystals. So I took a piece of, after it was dried out, I took a piece of nylon thread, real thin nylon thread, and threaded it through the stem and tied it onto these toothpicks so that I could suspend it in this orb so that it's hanging and doesn't touch the bottom, which will be the top when I finish with it. So I'm just going to start with a layer. You do layers at a time. And I don't want to, I'm going to let that drip. It's only about a half inch. I don't want to put too much in there yet because eventually it's going to have to seep up some way into the petals. So I'm just going to add a little bit, let this cure, and then after it cures, I'll do another layer. I think I'll do about it's going to take a while. I'll do about a half inch at a time. I'm not sure how the fluid will seep up in there. We shall see. We shall see. So that's enough. Just the bottom of the petals is touching the resin on one side. On this other side, it's not touching. So when I put the next layer, maybe it'll seep up in there some way. I don't know how that works with the flower being upside down. Usually I have the flowers turned the other way, and I pour the resin into the flower petals a little bit at a time. So we're going to see. I'll be back when this dries and we do another layer.
Time to unmold. As you can see, I'm having a little difficulty, so I squirt water in here to loosen it up. I should have squished the mold to help me out a little better, but eventually I get this sphere out of the mold. These molds are quite flexible, so I'm able to roll it down to release this piece. This is a deburring tool. It has a sharp blade that allows you to shave off ragged edges, sharp edges. This tool works best if used immediately after curing your piece. The longer you wait, the harder the resin becomes and the more difficult it is to shave. I wasn't happy with all the minute bubbles that formed as the resin cured, so I started using my Dremel tool to sand out the fine bubbles, not realizing how many bubbles were in this piece and how deep they were. So I decided to get out my sander to make this process smoother and easier and somewhat quicker. What dawned on me is realizing that I failed to use my heat gun after pouring each level of resin to pop these minute bubbles. So therefore they were trapped in the curing process. Sometimes you have to take these extra steps, but not always. For the most part, if you follow all of the necessary steps, your piece will turn out beautifully without having to sand. But then occasionally I slip and I forget a step or two, and this is the end result in having to do the extra steps after. the piece is cured to get the beautiful results that I am looking for. During this step, please make sure to have on protective gear, your eyeglasses, and a mask. This dust is quite fine and is in the air. I use soapy water to thoroughly clean up the resin dust off of the art piece and off of the table. I use a toothbrush to remove the dust that has compacted in those minute bubbles. I will have to sand one more time to smooth the surface out. Cleanup is crucial. As you can see, I still have some areas to smooth out. So time for sanding number 2. I will just speed through since you've already seen this process done. I am satisfied with the results. It is now time to mix up the epoxy resin for the top coat. Using equal parts of resin and hardener, I mix for 3 minutes. I'm adding a pinch of white iridescent fine glitter and also white iridescent mica powder to give the top coat a beautiful glow. You only have to use a tiny amount for the effect. I use a hard plastic tray to set the piece on so that I can easily move it after I have finished. Make sure to cover with a silicone mat for your drippings. Use 91% alcohol for your final cleaning of your resin art before pouring your top coat. You'll want to use something to keep your resin art piece raised so that the drippings flow off of the resin piece. Watch the magic begin. I am pulling the resin down to make sure that all the surfaces are coated to the bottom. Make sure to use a heat gun to pop the tiny bubbles. Allow the top coat to cure for 6 to 8 hours.
You have it, y'all. It's cured. I cleaned up the base, and that top coat did justice. Now, another thing I found that I did wrong, I am not perfect and I do make mistakes, is that the color of this is not vibrant, of this rose in here. And I believe it is not vibrant because it was not completely dried out. Thank God this is mine. I saved it from Mother's Day bouquet. But I believe that's what went wrong here. All in all, it's still pretty. I've ordered a light base to put this on for the light to shine through, and we're going to see what that looks like. But thank you for watching. I appreciate you. Come back for more, as there will be plenty in all different sizes, shapes, and varieties. Thank you so much. Have a wonderful, wonderful day. Peace and love. Toodles.